Today's fast-paced job market requires all communication to be succinct and effective. Richard Lanham, a professor of English at UCLA, invented a simple editing tool that he calls the Paramedic method. This is a quick way to edit away meaningless information for your reader's convenience and comprehension. In this video, we will show you how to cut out the lard from sentences using Lanham's method. You may be wondering how a sentence can be fat. Well, sentences are fattened by meaningless information. The excess words are useless fat that do not help communication. Lanham notes that a sentence's lard factor is a measure of efficiency. It represents how much useless information has been cut from the original sentences by dividing the number of words cut by the number of words in the original sentence. This is expressed as a percentage. Keep in mind that though efficiency is important, we must be careful to not over-edit information crucial to the meaning of the sentence. Here's an example using the Paramedic method. We can turn a sentence that reads, "The fact of the matter is that the 1960 movie Psycho was the first movie to ever feature a toilet flushing in theaters," and revise it to, "The movie Psycho first featured a toilet flushing." This cuts the lard factor by 65%. Next, we will show you. Lanham's original method has 6 steps. To successfully edit sentences using the Paramedic method, we must first identify and eliminate prepositions. Identify is forms and change them to active verbs. And identify where the action occurs. Ask, who is kicking whom? Then, we must put the action into a simple, not compound active verb, and place the doer as the subject in the format subject, verb, object. Finally, we must start fast in order to avoid meaningless introductory phrases. The first step of the Paramedic method is to find the prepositions. These include words like at, in, on, to, of, for, as, with, by, from, and so on. You may highlight or circle these if necessary. Too many prepositions drain all the action out of a sentence. We want to get rid of these and replace them with strong verbs that make the sentence direct. Find and eliminate the prepositions in the sentence. The CIA, with help from the Nazis, accidentally helped invent the counterculture of hippies while they were trying to figure out how to brainwash communists. We must then rearrange the phrases that are crucial in order to omit the prepositions and condense the sentence. The revised sentence reads, "The CIA and Nazis helped invent hippies while brainwashing communists." Next, we must identify the is forms in the sentence. Using is in a sentence gets it off to a slow start and makes the sentence weak. We want to replace as many to be verbs as possible with action verbs. Likewise, we want to change the sentence from a passive voice to an active voice. In this example, we must eliminate the passive is forms in the sentence. What I'm trying to say is that the hobo is in need of a bath, and change them to active verbs. We must also discard the weak opening is phrase. The revised sentence, "The hobo needs a bath," is active and succinct. Notice that we also eliminated some prepositions here. The third step is to identify where the action occurs in a sentence. This may be done by asking the question, who does what to whom? Answering this question and following its progression yields active sentences. To determine where the action happens in the sentence, "Eating beans is considered evil by the cult of Pythagoras," we must ask who does what to whom. In this case, the who is the cult of Pythagoras. The action here denotes that the cult considers. The action is taken to consider eating beans evil. The revised active form of the sentence emerges when we answer the question. Pythagoras' cult considers eating beans evil. Note that we also changed the is form to an active verb. The next step in the method is to put the action in a simple active verb. This means that we must avoid compound verbs and auxiliary verbs such as where, was, will, has been, and so forth in front of other sentences. Following the who does what to whom format, placing the doer as the subject of the sentence adds a sense of direct kicking action. The general format is subject, verb, object. To fix the sentence, "My ears have been bleeding because of the music of Justin Bieber," we must first identify and simplify the active verb. In this case, we change the compound verb "have been bleeding" to the active verb "bleeds." After reading of some prepositions and rearranging, the revised sentence reads, "Justin Bieber's music bleeds my ears." Notice also that the format of the original sentence is object, my ears, compound verb, have been bleeding, and subject, music of Justin Bieber. But the format of the revised sentence is the more desirable subject, Justin Bieber's music, verb, bleeds, and the object, my ears. Finally, the last step of Lanham's paramedic method is to start fast. To do this, we must avoid meaningless introductory phrases such as "my opinion is that" or "the point I would like to make is that." We may identify these by searching for "is that" after an introduction. These introductory phrases add a lot of meaningless lard, so we must omit anything that does not change the sentence's meaning. Stick to the action and get to the point as quickly as possible by laying down the doer and action as early as possible. To demonstrate this, we can take the sentence, "Surprisingly, the fact of the matter is that on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo painted the image of God inside a human brain." By omitting everything before the "is that," the sentence does not lose any meaning, but it is still faulty. After removing some prepositions and rearranging to fit the subject-verb-object format, the revised sentence reads, "Michelangelo painted God's image inside a human brain on the Sistine Chapel's ceiling." Now, let's review what we've learned so far. To use the paramedic method, first we identify and eliminate prepositions. We then identify is forms and change them to active verbs. Next, we identify where the action occurs. We ask who is kicking whom. We put the action into a simple, not compound, active verb, and arrange in order to place the doer as the subject in the format subject, verb, object. And finally, we must start fast and avoid meaningless introductory phrases. Now, let's review what we have learned so far. We will use the paramedic method on the faulty sentence in response to the issue of equality for educational and occupational mobility. It is my belief that a system of gender inequality exists in the school system. First, we find the prepositions and be verbs in order to realign the sentence. We realign the sentence, and now we can locate the passive action. It is my belief. We turn this passive action into the active verb believe. Then we find the object of the sentence. In this case, that is, gender inequality exists. The subject here is my, which we will change to I. When we eliminate all unnecessary prepositions and follow the subject-verb-object format, we revise the sentence to read, "I believe gender inequality exists in the schools." We hope you have enjoyed our video tutorial and that it proves to be useful. For further information on the paramedic method and other useful editing information, feel free to visit any of these websites.